One more sip of coffee. Joining me on the I'm leaving that in. Joining me on the line. Joining me on the line, as he does every Friday of the show, he works for Cinemablend.com. He writes about movies and does some weird stuff and possibly tries to reanimate squirrels. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Mike Reyes. Hey, Mike, what's going on?
Not much, now that you've blown the whole reanimating squirrels thing. That was supposed to be between us. And for the record, the results were inconclusive because...
Okay, let's say Dr. Frankenstein was not trying to reanimate a human. Where would be the borderline of weirdness for, trying to reanimate a dead animal? Oh, he's just trying to reanimate a squid versus, he's trying to reanimate, a cat. Would one be weirder than the other?
We have seen a film franchise where we've recreated dinosaurs. So really, I think that I don't know if there is a line anymore.
Okay. All right. Well, anyways, we got some movies to talk about. We're in movie news. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. The Lightyear trailer's out. Tiger King's not a movie, but we need to talk about it. We may throw in some Prodigy and a few, not the Firestarter, but Star Trek. Oh, how did Star Trek Prodigy or Star Trek Prodigy not use Prodigy music for the opener?
No, man,
that would have been awesome.
Now I'm just thinking, did they start with Smack My Bitch Up because it's such a wonderful beat? Or do they go with funky shit because that was used in Event Horizon, so you've got the whole space travel connection?
There you go. All right, so...
You decide, America.
Oh, somebody needs to do that on YouTube or TikTok or something. Maybe I'll do it on TikTok. Anyways, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. What's the big movie this weekend?
Oh, man, I would say...
Is it the one you haven't seen?
No. Honestly,
okay.
This weekend sort of feels like we're still in the wake of Dune from last week. So I don't think anybody really wanted to open a big movie, especially because next week is Eternals. So we've got some, I would say, mid-level movies this week.
And real quick, going back to Dune, they green-lighted part 2, right?
They finally green-lighted part 2, even though Denis Villeneuve was like, yeah, I had design work done on this, and the studio could get it done faster if they really wanted to. And even Hans Zimmer in his confirmation was like, oh, I'm glad I have some music left over. And it's like, I would not be surprised if you have a full sketchbook of music, because what he likes to do and what he actually did for Dune was he released a whole album that was like, or an EP that was like the Dune sketchbook, which is basically just him sort of toying with ideas before he goes into make them reality.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised if he already has it's just something that should have been greenlit from day one, because now we have to wait until October 2023 to watch this. And it's a pain in the ass because you hook people on your universe and then you make them wait this long. And then you run the risk of, well, a million different things could happen before the production of this second part where things could really get screwed. Come on, man.
There you go. Okay, so
you don't want to save these.
Dude's getting a part 2, onwards and upwards to movies. What were you saying is the big movie this week?
So I would say, one of the big movies this week is Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho, which finally made it to theaters because it was one of those movies that got delayed because of the plague times.
In the before 4?
Oh, are we dipping into Cloud Atlas now?
Maybe.
I love that movie. But we'll talk about that at another point, because right now, Last Night in Soho, a young woman by the name of Eloise, played by Thomasin McKenzie, who you may have seen this year in Old. If you haven't, go watch Old. It's actually pretty good. But this young woman's going to school for fashion in London. She's from a small country town. And she is starting to see visions of 1960s London and becomes obsessed with a showgirl by the name of Sandy, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. And I am not going to give you a lot of details about this movie because that is all you need to know to really get into this. It is, I will say one thing above all else. Edgar Wright designed this movie for Dolby Atmos, because when I talked to him for Scott Pilgrim earlier this year, he talked about how he tweaked Scott Pilgrim and Last Night in Soho at the same time.
Oh, cool.
For, Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision. So you're getting beautiful color. The sound in this movie is key, because when she slips into the 60s for the first time, it really envelops you. And then the creepy stuff that happens through the rest of the movie really plays with the soundtrack. It's immersive. It's a lot of damn fun. And this is Dame Diana Rigg's final film performance. And you may know her as, I believe, Olenna Tyrell from Game of Thrones. She was the matriarch of that. Tell Cersei it was me. The matriarch of the Tyrells.
Yeah.
This is her final film performance, and I believe she was ill while she was filming. You really can't tell.
Okay.
She delivered. This is her this is an amazing performance for her to close out an already storied career with. But yeah, Last Night in Soho is a ride, and it's perfect for Halloween.
Awesome. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line to talk about movies. What else is coming out this weekend?
Well, another one that's perfect for the season that I sadly did not get to see is Antlers. And it's the story of this young boy whose father is kind of going through a change in life. And that change requires devouring flesh from living beings, and it's based on a short story. I'm trying to remember who. I think it's Nick Anacosta is his name. He was a creator of a show on Sci-Fi a while ago called Channel Zero. I don't know if you'd ever. It was like
based on The Quiet Boy.
Nick Antosca.
Yeah,
Nick Antosca, who wrote this original short story and then adapted it with two other writers, including director Scott Cooper. And I have heard that this is really disturbing, and I am so excited to finally go see this because, again, this is another one that got delayed, and everybody was wondering, is this going to go streaming? Is this going to stay in theaters? It is in theaters, and you know what? Especially at this time of year, I want to be enveloped by something that is frightening. And that same thing with Last Night in Soho. It really works in a theater in Dolby, and just being surrounded in like all the stings of music and the surprises.
That's kind of awesome that there's two movies that are good Halloween movies out this weekend.
I know, and it's like, it doesn't feel like they forced it. It doesn't feel like, hey, this was made for Halloween, and we're putting it out on Halloween because Halloween. Like, if you have a franchise that typically releases around this time like Saw used to, that's great. But these are movies that are like, they just happen to be scary and just happen to be released on Halloween. I like that. It feels like a treat.
Okay, well, we'll talk about Antlers a little bit more next week after you've seen it. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me. We had one more movie, correct?
Yes. Oh, and this is another fantastic one that everyone will be able to watch so long as they have a Netflix account. I was also on hand to do the junkets for this film, so we'll have a little more on that. But Army of Thieves, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, was the beginning of a new cinematic universe that Netflix and Zack Snyder are putting together.
Okay.
And Army of Thieves is a prequel. It takes place sometime before that first film, and that's very important because of some things that happen in Army of the Dead. This is the prequel that tells us about Ludwig Dieter, the super safecracker played by Matthias Schweighöfer in Army of the Dead.
Oh, I know which one you're talking. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to place Army of the Dead. I'm like, which one was that? And it's the Las Vegas zombie movie from not too long ago, right?
It was a couple months. I think they said 5 months ago, because in the press notes, they're like, how does it feel to be releasing a prequel like 5 months after you release the other movie? The whole thing was they came up with this idea while they were filming Army of the Dead. And then Zack Snyder was so impressed with Matthias Schweighöfer's performance as Dieter and knew that he was not only an actor in German entertainment, but also a director.
Yeah.
That he's like, you know this character better than anyone else. You should be running this show. So he basically gave him this prequel for his character. And it's not a zombie movie. It's kind of, it may be weird for some because this is a prequel to a zombie movie. And they mention that the zombie apocalypse is starting and it's happening in America. But in Europe, Dieter is going by a different name because, he becomes Ludwig Dieter, and you'll find out why in this movie. But he's a mild-mannered bank teller who loves safe cracking and then gets recruited to become a part of this heist team that goes throughout Europe, cracking these legendary safes.
Oh, cool. That's kind of an interesting concept for a movie, is a prequel to like an apocalypse movie, like a zombie movie or whatever.
Yeah, and also a prequel of a different genre, because this is a heist comedy. Like, you see a couple scenes of zombie action to kind of tie it together with Army of the Dead, but for the most part, this is just, they wanted to make an Italian Job sort of movie where it's funny. The crew is funny. Like, you've got the best drift driver as part of your crew, and you've got a guy that named himself There's literally a character named Brad Cage. And the reason he names himself that is because, and get your bleep button ready, the way he describes himself is if Brad Pitt and Nick Cage and had a hotter baby.
That's awesome. I'm completely okay with this. No, it's
on Netflix now. You can watch this now. It is so much fun.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because you've seen both. Do you watch one before the other? Could I watch Army of Thieves and then watch Army of Darkness or The Dead or whatever?
You really could watch it either way. Like I think it would be really fun to hear about your experience watching Army of Thieves and then Army of the Dead.
Okay. Okay,
you can watch it either way, because this is a different enough movie that even if you don't like Army of the Dead, Army of Thieves presents something so totally different that you can dig it.
All right, I will. I'll try and get that done this week. I'm not going to make any promises, but I'll see what I can do.
Well, I'm not going to make any promises on Antlers either, but I'm hoping I can go see Antlers this weekend.
There you go. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. As we make our way, that's all for movies, right? We're cool to go to movie news?
Yeah, although I told my wife something funny about Antlers real quick, and I think I would love to hear people actually do this. I was like, because there's a Halloween party tonight for her office, and she's like, oh, yeah, you can come and hang out with us. Mm-hmm. And then I told her, you know what? We should drag everyone to see Antlers, but tell them it's a Christmas movie. Like, don't let them see anything else. Just tell them it's a Christmas movie. I want to see their faces.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
So, yeah, if you want to pull a prank on someone this weekend, tell them you're going to go see Antlers to celebrate the holiday spirit. A little early.
I like it. What are you going as for the Halloween party?
Oh, it's not the Halloween party's at work, but then they're just hanging out for drinks after. But okay. I don't know. I might dress up a little bit and look good. You know
what the best, really, really simple costume is, and I have to give my buddy Justin credit for it, who does the other podcast with me.
I thought that's who you were talking about. Justin!
He came up with this a few years ago, and I've stolen it and used it like in multiple Halloween since. He came dressed up. All he was wearing was a suit, and then he took one of those touch lights and taped it to his chest.
Iron Man?
He was Tony Stark.
That's awesome.
So I like when we have dress ups for work and stuff, I just take one of those touch lights and put it on my chest, and I'm Tony Stark. And that's all I have to do. I can wear whatever I want.
That is fantastic. I love that idea. I'm sad. I'm going to have to do that at some point.
I'll send you some pictures. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me online. Okay, let's jump over to movie news real quick. We got a couple of really cool trailers this week. We'll touch on them real quick. The Buzz Lightyear thing, I think it's safe to say just looks awesome, right?
Lightyear looks so damn awesome. I can't wait.
And,
oh, man.
I will say this about it. You know what I really liked about it, and it hit me later on? It's the same thing that was missing from Indiana Jones 4. It looked gritty. Ooh. It looked like a dirty movie. And not dirty. Yeah, not in the sense of like boobs and, cussing and all that. It just looked dirty and gritty. And that's what I always thought was I always thought, the first 3 Indiana Jones movies, whether you like them or hate them, they all looked dirty, gritty, and used. Buzz Lightyear looks used in this, and I love it.
Well, yeah. Also, that's just because you were filming on film with those Indiana Jones movies, and like when you go back and watch them, especially Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I noticed this because Jungle Cruise mimics this look. There is light glare, and like people look really sweaty and really into the adventure. And I love that look because it's not just this sort of perfect villain, perfect hero get into perfect scrape. It's like, this is an actual adventure where people are putting their backs into this.
It looked realistic. Like it was a level of animation.
Go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, this is a level of animation from Pixar that's really impressive. Like they've done really impressive stuff, but that trailer looked really impressive.
Oh, it did. And also, you just look at some of the designs. It looks like they're basing some of this off of like Ridley Scott's Alien.
Yeah,
because there's certain like insignias and like space station designs that are like, oh my god, you're giving me a lot of you're giving me some really good feelings here. And then you just drop in ever since The Martian, you drop in David Bowie Starman, and there's a chance that you're probably going to get me to cry. Because it's just perfect shorthand for like space and adventure.
It really, really is. So Buzz
Lightyear. Evans.
What's that?
Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear. I love this already.
Yeah, which we were talking off the air yesterday about. There's the not conspiracy. controversy going around of why Tim Allen's not the voice of it. And I still think a great post-credit scene in Lightyear would be them showing Chris Evans' Buzz Lightyear, the toy, and with Tim Allen's voice. That doesn't sound a thing like me or something like that.
That would be. But the whole thing about that was it's the actual human that Buzz Lightyear, the toy, was based off of. So it could be a movie character.
Yeah.
It could be many different things, but the point is he is human. So it's not going to be that voice.
Or, you know what I just thought of? You think of different like levels of superhero. Like there are superhero shows designed for kids that use the same heroes for, like the kids version of Iron Man is different than the MCU version of Iron Man.
Well, yeah, because Robert Downey Jr. is not going to go and he's not going to go and what do you call it?
Okay. Let me throw something at you real quick. I didn't want to stay on this long, but what if in the movie we find out we're watching a different version of Buzz Lightyear, like a reboot of Buzz Lightyear within the Toy Story world, like a movie within a movie?
That would be really interesting. I like that.
You know how like you take Buzz Lightyear from the Toy Story universe and you wrap it and kind of you say that's the Adam West version of the story, right? And then the Buzz Lightyear that we're going to see in Lightyear is the Dark Knight Nolan version of Batman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I am now looking forward to whatever the Robert Pattinson version of Buzz Lightyear will be.
That'd be awesome. He just shoves that laser in someone's mouth and blows the back of their skull off.
To infinity and beyond.
Oh, God, that's awesome. Mike Reyes from... I am infinity.
Ooh, wow. Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, that is a beautiful note right there to hang on the wall because, ooh.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I want to see this. Buzz Lightyear dropped into the aliens world and taking on the mother alien.
Ooh, yes.
Or the Predators.
Or both. Come on, we're in an Alien versus Predator world now. Let's get this done.
No. I got a better one. The Predators hunting, and all of a sudden Buzz Lightyear shows up riding an alien, like he's domesticated it.
Fox is going to steal this idea from us, and I don't know how I feel about that.
The Predator in his own language asked Buzz Lightyear, how did you do this? He goes, he just did. He holds out his hand, and it does the weird inside mouth thing and grabs it out of his hand.
I love this. We're a go picture on this.
I kind of feel like we should end there. I wanted to talk about Tiger King and a couple other things, but God, that's such a great note to go out on.
Yeah, this is the antithesis of the other week where it was like we ended on a downer.
Yeah,
this is just like, okay, this is a high note. Cut picture. All right, I think we're good.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome. All right, we'll end it there. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every Friday on the show to talk about stuff. Mike, you have yourself a good weekend.
You too. Henry Cavill is Gritty Woody.